Hi, welcome once again to our YouTube channel. Thanks for subscribing to our channel. We really appreciate you. Today we want to look at the NECO 2024 Agri-Science Practical. We want to take all of the specimens, we want to discuss all of the specimens, looking at the characteristics of all of the specimens and possibly some uses of some of these specimens. So we encourage you to try as much as possible to come along with us as we take all of these specimens, discussing them one after the other. So firstly, we will list out all of the specimens as they have been released by the exam body NECO. We'll list out all of the specimens and then we'll move ahead into tackling them sequentially. So from our specimen A, let's start right with specimen A. Specimen A, what we have there is hand fork. Hand fork. And our specimen B, we have garden fork. Our specimen C happens to be the hand thrower. And our specimen D is the knapsack sprayer. Our specimen E is poultry droppings. Our specimen F now is cow dung. Our specimen G, we have the NPK fertilizer. And our specimen H, what we have there is lime. That's calcium carbonate. Our specimen I, we're told to get onion bulb. Onion bulb. And our specimen J, we have yam tuber. Yam tuber. Our specimen K now, cassava tuber. And then our specimen L, we have ginger. Specimen M, we have it to be fresh pepper, fresh meat. Specimen N happens to be tapeworm. Our specimen O, we have our specimen O to be roundworm. And our specimen P, which is the last specimen, is tick. So these here that I have listed are the specimens that we'll be using for this particular discussion. We have our specimen A to be the hand fork, and specimen B is the garden fork. We have specimen C to be hand thrower, specimen D is the knapsack sprayer, specimen E is the poultry dropping, specimen F is the cow dung, specimen G is the NPK fertilizer, specimen H is lime, which is the calcium carbonate, specimen I is onion bulb, specimen J is yam tuber, specimen K is the cassava tuber, specimen L is ginger rhizome, specimen M is fresh meat, specimen N is tapeworm, specimen O is roundworm, and specimen P is the tick. So all of these are the specimens that we'll be talking about as we explain all of these specimens one after the other. So please try as much as possible to come along with us, follow us, and understand all that we'll be talking in explaining all of these specimens stepwisely. For those of us that have subscribed to our channel, we really appreciate you. Thanks for subscribing to our channel and believing in us. Thanks for coming along with us all the way. We really appreciate you. We know you're getting the best use of this channel. We know you are getting the benefit of subscribing to our channel. Thanks for doing so. And for those that are yet to subscribe, please, we encourage you to try to subscribe to the channel, as you'll be getting very useful information from this channel. We encourage you to subscribe to our channel because we know that subscribing to our channel is going to do you a whole lot of good. Please, when you subscribe, don't forget to switch on the notification button to be able to get easily notified of subsequent uploads when we put them up on our channel. Don't forget to like our contents, share them with your friends, let them also benefit from what you're getting from this content. Thank you very much. So like we said, we'll be moving straight to discussing all of the specimens one after the other. So we'll be starting with our specimen A now. Our specimen A, which happens to be the hand fork. That is where we are picking it up from. So what do you have to say about the hand fork? The hand fork actually is a small handheld gardening tool. Is a small handheld gardening tool. Yes, it's a small handheld gardening tool, and it is designed for use on small plants, seedling. Which is designed for use on small plants. And seedlings. That is what this garden fork is basically used for. It is designed for use on small plants and for seedlings. Now, they are also called, this particular instrument or implement, if I were to call it that way, this particular tool is also called a weeding fork. This tool is also known as we also call it the weeding fork. That is another name that it is called. It is also called the weeding fork, and this is because of its use in digging up weeds. And this is because it is often used in digging up weeds on the farm. It is often used in digging up weeds. That is basically one of the reasons why it is called the weeding fork. Now, if you look at the description of this particular implement, what we have to say about it is this. First, we say that it has a wooden, plastic or metal handle. Description: it has a wooden, plastic or metal handle. Also, it has 3 sturdy tines. It has 3 sturdy tines These tines are also called prongs. It has 3 study tines or prongs. It has a small size. It has a small size. Similar to the hand trowel. A small size similar to the hand trowel, and this makes it very handy. And this makes it very handy. It makes it very handy when used in contained spaces. When it is used in contained spaces. Yes, contained spaces like in the containers, borders, or in containers, borders, or closely planted beds. So this is just what we have for the description of this particular instrument. When we look at the uses now, uses, basically we use it to prune weeds. So what we'll be having for the uses, it is used in cultivating the soil. Used in cultivating the soil. It is used in light weeding. Used in light weeding. It is used in transplanting. Used in transplanting. Yes, it is used in transplanting seedlings, particularly from their nursery to their beds. It is also used in aerating the soil. Also used in aerating the soil. Yes, these are some of the uses of the hand fork. Let me add this one, that it is also used in mixing additives and fertilizers into the soil. Also used in mixing additives and fertilizer into the soil. These and more are the uses of the hand fork. So perhaps you are asked for the care. How do you care for this particular instrument? You try as much as possible to clean. You don't necessarily need to wash because it is a metal. It has a metal tongue. So because of the metal study times, you don't need to wash, but you try as much as possible to wipe off the dirt, clean the blades with any piece of cloth to remove all the dirt from the tines or from the prongs, and then you clean up the handle as well. Perhaps there is any dirt on the handle, you clean them, and then you have the opportunity to oil the metal part of the blade to prevent rusting. So basically that is how to care for this particular instrument. So these are what we want to see about the hand fork. So looking at some pictures, so this is an example of a hand fork. We can see this now. So this is an example, a typical example of the hand fork. You can see how it looks. So this place here is a wooden handle, and we can see the 3 tines. That's the prong, you can see them. So that is how the hand fork looks. Let me show us another picture. You can see this as well. This now has a plastic handle with the metal shouldered 3 tines. You can see this is another picture. This one also has 3 it has wooden handle and then the 3 shouldered tines. You can see them. So this is what a label diagram look like. You can see the tines here. You can see them. Now this is a tang, a handle, or a holder of the tines onto the handle. You can see it. This is the handle. This is where it is being held to be operated, and here we have the ferrule. So that is the label of, or a labeled diagram of the hand fork. So we move to the next specimen, which is going to be specimen B. Specimen B. Our specimen B is the garden fork. Specimen B is the garden fork. Now this instrument is similar to the hand fork, just that it has a bigger size than the hand fork. So the garden fork, which is also called digging fork, garden fork is also called the digging fork. It's also called the digging fork, or spading, or spading fork. Yes, that is another name that it is often called. They have long been an important tool for gardeners. They have long been important tools for people tending to farms or gardens. Yes. So when we look at the description, this tool was originally made of wood. Okay, let me put that here. Description. Now, it is usually with 4 sharp tines with square shouldered head. Usually designed with 4 sharp tines, unlike the hand fork, which happens to have 3 tines. Garden forks usually have 4 sharp tines, though we have some of them that have more than 4 tines, but usually, oftentimes, you see them with 4 sharp tines. Square shouldered head. Square shouldered head. And a long handle. That is the description. Garden forks are easily pushed into the soil to loosen them. Okay, let me quickly say this. Originally, they are made of wood. Originally, they are made of wood, but the majority are now made of metal or steel. But are now made of metal and steel. Yes, originally when the garden forks were originally made, they were made of wood, but now we now have metal parts and steel of this particular instrument. Now they are used to push easily into the soil, particularly when you are carrying out pre-planting activities. You can quickly use them to push or make holes into the soil, and these are done for several reasons. So let's look at some of the uses now. Uses. Number one, it is done, you drive them into the soil. Like I said earlier on, you easily push them into the soil. One, to loosen them. Push the garden fork into the soil to loosen the soil. That is a major function of this. It also aerates the soil. When you push it into the soil, it aerates the soil. It helps to mix soil additives. It helps to mix soil additives and fertilizers with the soil. Another use of it is also used to turn the soil. It is also used to turn the soil. Upside down. It is also used to turn the soil over, and we also have it used in loosening up the soil, because it is also used in breaking up clods. Yes, let me add that. It is also used to break up clods. So these are the things that we need to see about the garden fork. Now, like we have the care for the hand fork, we also have similar care done for the garden forks. Now, looking at pictures, this is what we'll be having. We have this here. This is a garden fork. So you can see the square shouldered part of the garden fork. Now, this handle here, this part here, could be made of steel or wood. This particular neck here could be made of steel or wood, and here we have the handle that's usually made of metal. And then we have this one here. You can see that it has 4 tines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, some of them have more than 4 tines, like I said earlier on, so we need to be mindful of that. Now, this is another picture. You can see it. You can see. So this is another picture as well when it is being held. You can see now that this part here has a wooden, you can see the wooden part here. So that is basically what I was talking about, and I said that sometimes it has a wooden part. So that is the wooden neck there. You can see it usually with 4 tines, and then we have the part that is pushed into the ground, which is this part here, the tines. Are we together? So this is a labeled diagram of the garden fork. You can see how it looks. So this part here is the shaft. So you see it, this wooden part here is the shaft, and then we have the socket where the shaft fits into the part that is for the tines. So we have the square shouldered tines here, and it is having 4 tines. This particular one here is having 4 tines. So like I said in the notes, oftentimes you find the garden fork having 4 tines, and here we have the grip, the handle grip. So that is basically what the garden fork is. So quickly we go to the next specimen now. Specimen C. So what is our specimen C? Our specimen C is the hand trowel. The hand trowel is our specimen C. That is what we will be talking about right about now. So what do we have to say about the hand trowel? What is there to say about the hand trowel? The hand trowel is a garden tool for agricultural application of seed and fertilizers. Let me put that here. Hand trowel is an agricultural tool used basically for the application of seeds and fertilizers. Basically, that is the function of the hand trowel. It is used to apply seeds and fertilizer, and it is also used for pruning. It is also used for pruning. Now, let's understand this. When we say, okay, looking at this now, we say that the hand trowel, because of the shape of the hand trowel, it is actually used for carrying out the application of seeds, particularly when you are applying grains as seeds in certain agricultural practices. That is what we use. Now, it is also used for, let me just quickly talk about the uses first. So it is also used for breaking up the earth or the soil. It is also used for breaking up the soil. It is also used for breaking up the soil and digging small holes. These are some of the things that we use this particular implement for, especially for planting and weeding. Yes, I have said that earlier on. It is also used in the mixing of fertilizer, yes, in order to add additives and transferring plants to their pots. Yes, it is also used, okay. It is also used in transferring. It is also used in transferring seedlings from the nursery to pots or fields. So these are some of the many uses of what we refer to as hand trowel. So it is a small handheld device that is often used by farmers, particularly on small farms or small gardens. Now, we want to see the description. It is comparable to a spade or a shovel, but much smaller and designed for use with one hand. Let me put that here. Well, description now. Description of this particular instrument. Okay, it looks like a little short handheld shovel. It is comparable to a spade or shovel, but much smaller. And designed to be used with one hand. That is how this particular instrument is designed. It is designed to be used with one hand. Now you can have some of them made with wooden handle or metallic handle or even plastic rubber handle, but it will usually have a metal blade, and that is the part that is used in actually carrying out all of these functions that we have talked about. Now looking at all of these instruments, starting from A, that is specimen A, the hand fork, the garden fork, as well as the hand trowel. The major care that you can use, that you can give in keeping these instruments, in keeping them to make them have long lifespan, is basically by cleaning off the dirt, cleaning off the earth or the sand, the soil that is attached to the blades or the metal parts, and oiling them regularly. That is what you can do to prevent rust on all of these metallic objects, and then you'll be able to preserve them for a lasting use. So that is the same care that you'll be putting up for the hand trowel. So looking at the hand trowel now, these are pictures that you'll be seeing. So this is an example of what the hand trowel looks like. You can see it. So this part here is the metal blade. You can see the metal blade here. This part is made of stainless steel, while we have this part here that is made of fine wood. You can see that it is made of polished wood, and here we have the shaft where the wood fits into the metal part here. So this is another example of the trowel. We can see this one here has rubber handle with the metal blade. That is what we have there. We can see this is another example of the hand trowel, and this is the labeled part. We can see it here. It has the blade here, and then the depth gauge. You can see it is graded here. For some of them it is graded. We have this part here, the ferrule connection of the shaft, and then we have the handle. Are we together? So that is basically what the hand trowel looks like. So without wasting much time, we move straight to the next specimen. Specimen D, and our specimen D is the knapsack sprayer. Specimen D is the knapsack sprayer. So what are we saying? What are we having to discuss about the knapsack sprayer? The knapsack sprayer is a particular instrument that is used in applying so many things to our agricultural field. So knapsack sprayer is an agricultural tool used in spraying liquid materials such as fertilizers. Okay. Knapsack sprayer is an agricultural tool The knapsack sprayer is an agricultural tool used for the application liquid materials such as fertilizers, We have it for the application of fertilizers, as well as pesticides, herbicides, or even water. Yes, it is also used in applying water, particularly when you are watering or when you are using a small field. You can use it to apply water to that field. It works via a manual pump pressure via a side lever. It usually has a lever by the side. That is how it operates. It works using a manual pump pressure by its side. That is how that particular instrument works. Now, describing the instrument, it has description now. It has a bucket. That houses the material to be sprayed. And it is usually carried at the back. It is usually carried on the back of the handler. On the back of the handler or the sprayer. It is fastened with belts. These two belts are actually fastened to the bucket, and it is with this edge of these belts that the bucket is being carried on the back. Now, like I said earlier on, it consists of a pump and an air chamber permanently installed in the tank. It consists of a pump and an air chamber that is permanently installed in the tank. Now, the handle of the pump extends it is with this pump now that the person operating it is able to apply the content. The handle of the pump extends over the shoulder. It extends over the shoulder or underneath the arm, of the operator. So I'm trying to describe it as well as talking about the mode of operation, how it is being handled and used during operation. So it is passed over the shoulder or underneath the arm of the operator, and this makes it possible to pump with one hand to pump with one hand while applying with the other hand using the nozzle. So basically that is what the description of the knapsack sprayer is. Now, talking about the care, you just basically need to regularly wash the bucket. Make sure that the bucket is clean, and if you have used it in the application of some chemicals like the pesticides or the herbicide, you try as much as possible to rinse thoroughly so that you don't allow some of these chemicals to stay glued into the hose or the nozzle of the knapsack sprayer. Basically, that is the care for this particular instrument. So looking at the pictures now, this is an example of a knapsack sprayer. We can see what we are talking about here. This is the knapsack sprayer, and this is the bucket. This is the nozzle. We can see the nozzle with which it is being applied, and it has a hose extending from the base of the bucket. We can see the hose here extending to the nozzle. So the person operating it, the operator, will press this particular clip here. You can see this clip here. So it is being pressed. As the operator pumps this lever, it pushes it up and down continuously, and then pressing this nozzle here, pressing this clip here, makes the liquid or the content of the bucket to spray out of this nozzle here. Now this place here is the air pressured chamber, the airtight pressure chamber that we made mention of previously. We said it is found inside the container, and it is the air chamber that is permanently fitted into the container. So that is what the knapsack sprayer looks like. This is another example. You can see it. So the lever is being pressed. You see it being pressed up and down. Let me show us another picture. Now this is it here. You can see this picture here. Now you can see this part labeled properly now. So you can see the lever. It has the telescopic rod, and then the air chamber. This part here is the air chamber that I made mention of earlier on. So it has its own cover. Now this is the hose that extends to the base of the bucket, and then we have this handle here that is being pressed. The handle is on the nozzle. The handle is being pressed when this particular lever is being pressed or moved up and down repeatedly. So these are the belts that I made mention of earlier on that is being used to fasten this bucket to the back, or to strap it to the back of the operator. So basically that is what the knapsack sprayer looks like. So this is another labeled example of what we are talking about. So we can see that this part here, you can see the lever. So it is being pumped regularly, and as it is being pumped and this trigger is being pressed, then the nozzle is permitted to release the content of the bucket. So it is in this bucket here now, we open this cover here, this cover or cap. It is being opened for you to pour into the tank whatever it is that you want to spray. So that is basically about the knapsack sprayer. So quickly we now move over to the next specimen, which is the specimen E, and that is the poultry droppings. Specimen E, the poultry droppings. So we have that for our specimen E, poultry droppings. So what do we have for specimen E? When we talk about the poultry dropping, we're actually talking about feces of the chickens. Poultry droppings includes the feces. Poultry droppings include the feces of the poultry beds. Yes, that's basically what the poultry dropping is. This particular substance that we're talking about here contains all essential plant nutrients. Okay. This component or compound is very essential to plant growth, because it contains many essential plant nutrients, because it contains many nutrients needed by the plants. Nutrients like we have the nitrogen, we have phosphorus, we have potassium, we have calcium, we have magnesium, we have sulfur, we have manganese, we have copper, we have zinc, we have chlorine. So many examples. All of these are used as organic matter, all of which are used as organic matter. So this particular substance here is very essential to farmers. They use them in helping to fertilize the soil. They use them in helping to nourish the soil so that the plants grown on these soil types can actually do well. Now, it is used in making compost. The poultry dropping is used in making compost. Is used in making compost, And what do I mean by this compost? Compost is a major plant material. Is a major plant manure prepared from animal feeds. If it is applied directly on crops, it can burn them. If it is applied directly on crops, can burn the crops, or plants. Because of some other chemicals that are added in the preparation of the substance, or in the preparation of the compost. So we need to be careful when applying our compound to the crops. So it can burn them. When it is allowed to actually release its substances into the soil, it comes out great. Yes, when the effect of the compost is actually felt on the soil types, when it has released all of its essential nutrients, it has in it all of these that you have made mention of, starting from nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and the rest of those. When it has been allowed to release all of these nutrients into the soil, it comes out great because all of the plant starts to do well. Other components in, okay, let me list them. I made mention of this now, that we have other components in the preparation of the compost. So other components now. Other components in compost. We have urine. We have urine of all animals. We have manure. We have chicken. Okay. Chicken manure, like the one we are talking about for this one, poultry droppings, but it could also come from other animals, like we could have them from the cattle, we could have them from horses and other, even from goats and sheep. Now, all of this could be used in the preparation of the manure, but chicken manure particularly has the highest amount of the NPK formula. Chicken manure has, okay, let me put that here. Chicken manure is more suitable because it has the highest amount. It has the highest amount of the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So that is the reason why the poultry dropping is most sorted for in the preparation of compost, because of its nutritive, or because of its very essential component that it has, that is highly needed or is highly sorted for by the plant. So that is the reason why poultry droppings are mostly used in the preparation of compost. So this is what the poultry dropping looks like, particularly when it has been pelletized. So we have it here. So this is actually what it looks like. Again, you can see this is what the poultry dropping looks like. You can see it. So these are poultry droppings, particularly when it has been mixed with little feeds of the poultry. So that is what we have there. So quickly we move over to specimen F, and our specimen F is the cow dung. Specimen F, cow dung. So what do you have to say about this? the cow dung. Cow dung, which is also called cow parts or cow manure, also called cow parts or cow manure, is the waste of bovine animals. Is the waste material of bovine animals. Animals like, we have the cattle, we have the bison, we have the yak, or even the buffalo. The water buffalo. All of these are the animals that make up the bovine animals. Now, looking at all of these, their waste, the waste they release are the things that we refer to as the cow dung or the cow manure. Now, they are undigested residue of plant matter that the animal has eaten. Cow dung is the undigested residue of the plants or grass feed eaten by these animals. Now, they are passed through the animal's guts. All of these feed remnants are passed. They are passed through the animal guts. And when they are passed through the animal guts, the resultant fecal matter is rich in minerals. Hence, the resultant fecal matter is rich in minerals, particularly minerals that are needed by the plants for the plants to do well. The uses now. Major uses. It is not only in agriculture that we use the cow dung, they are also used for other functions. So let me just list a few of these functions. Number one, they are used in the production of fuel. They are used as biogas in the production of fuel. They are used as fuel sources. They are also used in the production of fertilizer, like we are talking about fertilizer, or let me just say manure. They are also used in coating floors and walls. Coating floors and walls. Yes, people actually use them to coat, particularly mud clay houses. They use the cow dung to actually coat the floors and wall. And other uses include the use of it in the repellent of mosquito, to repel mosquitoes. There are special ways in which they are used or processed to actually use them for all of these functions. So that is what we want to say about the cow dung. So looking at pictures now, we'll be having this. This is an example of the cow dung. You can see how it looks. You can see it. That is what the cow dung looks like. You can see these are different pictures that can help us understand what you are looking at as our specimen F, the cow dung. So we move the next specimen, which is the specimen G, and our specimen G is the NPK fertilizer. The NPK fertilizer. We have made mention of the NPK. We have made mention of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium so many times since we started our study, since we started this particular tutorial session. So we need to understand what this thing that we're talking about is. Now, the NPK fertilizer is an inorganic fertilizer. It is an inorganic fertilizer used for helping plants to grow, useful in promoting plant growth. Now, it contains 3 essential nutrients needed by plants. It contains 3 very essential nutrients needed or required in large quantity, if I may add, in large quantities by the plant. And that is why these nutrients, they are called macronutrients, because they are needed in large quantity. Macronutrients, they are needed in large quantity. Now, the elements that we're making mention of, these nutrients, we have them to be the nitrogen, we have phosphorus, and we have the potassium. So these are the components of the NPK fertilizer. So like the acronym, the N is nitrogen, the P is phosphorus, and the K is potassium. Now, like I said earlier on, these 3 substances, they are needed in large quantity by the plant. So what are their functions? The nitrogen helps to it helps plants to grow quickly while increasing the production of seeds and fruits. That is basically the function of the nitrogen there. It promotes plant growth, in the seeds and fruits. When we look at the phosphorus now, what we have there for the phosphorus is that it helps to promote or to produce healthy flowers. It helps to produce healthy flowers. It produces healthy flowers, buds, roots, and fruits. These are the components that are promoted by the phosphorus. And we have the last computing material there, which is the potassium. The potassium, that's the K, which helps, its own function is to help plants to sustain overall plant health. Helps plants to sustain overall plant health. So peradventure you are needing to understand the reason why this NPK fertilizer happens to be the best of them all, it is because of the individual functions of each of these nutrients there, and that is why they are needed in large amounts by different plants. Now we should understand that the NPK formula is a formula, it is not uniform in preparation. So we have different nutritional requirement or need by different plants, hence the formation of all of this fertilizer, this NPK formula, they differ. We have some of them to be prepared in formula to be, okay, let me just put this here. Different plants often have different nutritional requirements. Different plants often have differing nutritional requirements. Hence, there are many different NPK fertilizers. Hence, there are many NPK fertilizer formulas. And some of them are available for garden owners. Okay, so the fertilizer formulas or blends. We could have some of them to be, you see some of them written NPK 20 20 10. It means in this particular formula we have 20 portions of nitrogen, 20 portions of phosphorus and 10 portions of potassium. In another one you could have it to be 20 10 20 depending on the nutritional requirement of that particular crop. So this one here is having nitrogen to be 20 portions, we have the phosphorus to be 10 portions, and then the potassium is 20 portions. So there is going to be the need for you to understand the plant you are working on and the nutritional need of that plant before you go in acquiring the NPK fertilizer, the inorganic fertilizer that will suit or that will be best applicable to that particular crop. So looking at the formulas now, these are few examples. You can see the nitrogen, and that's the complementary colors of this substance. You can see them: nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. You can see it, NPK. So that is how it looks. So the potassium has a complementary reddish brown color. The phosphorus looks harsh, and we have the nitrogen to be more or less white. So we have it in a mixture looking like this. You can see this here. So that is how this particular substance looks. You can see it having this particular look. You can see it being brought forward now. So we have the reddish brown, we have the ash as well as the white mixed together. So this is a particular compost inorganic fertilizer, that is the NPK formula. So this is another one. You can see it here also in the bag. So it is, like we said, they are inorganic substances, so it's chemical, so you need to handle with care. Oftentimes when applying this particular substance you need to make use of gloves. So that is that about our specimen G, which is the NPK fertilizer. So speedily we move over to specimen H, and our specimen H is the lime. It means the calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate. When it is written in its symbol, you see it written as this: calcium carbonate, CaCO3. That is the formula for that particular element, CaCO3, calcium carbonate. That is lime. So what is our lime? Lime is a particular substance that is added to soil to improve crop yield. It is a compound added to the soil to improve crop yield. And then the root system of plant and grass where soils are acidic, and that is another function of it. Also, to reduce the acidity of some soil types, thereby making it possible for the plant roots to absorb nutrients in the soil. So these are some of the functions of this particular substance. It does this by making the soil more basic. So it does this, it makes it possible for the plant roots to absorb the nutrients by making the soil more basic instead of it being acidic. So that is why we said it reduces the acidity of the soil. It does this by making the soil more basic. That is the function there, allowing the plants to absorb more nutrients. Lime is not a fertilizer. We should take note of that. Lime is not a fertilizer. Is not a fertilizer, but can be used in combination with fertilizer. But can be used in combination with fertilizers, particularly when your soil type is acidic and you are trying to apply your fertilizer. Your plant may not be able to absorb the fertilizer, so you will be needing the assistance, or you'll be needing the help of the lime to make the soil basic for your plant to be able to absorb the fertilizer that you are applying to the soil. So lime is a soil conditioner. When we look at the functions now, uses or functions. Number one, it increases the pH of the acidic soil. The pH of the acidic soil. That is the foremost function of applying lime to the soil. So it provides a source of calcium for plants. Provision of a source of calcium to the plants. That is another function of the lime. It improves water penetration for acidic soils. It improves water penetration for acidic soils. And number 4 there, I said that it is used in the uptake of major plant nutrients. It improves the uptake of major plant nutrients. Plant nutrients that are like the ones we made mention of earlier on, like the NPK formula. So that is a major plant nutrient. So it is being made possible to the plant when we have the lime making the soil basic. So that is what we have to say about the lime. So looking at it, this is basically what the lime is. You can see like a white chalk. You can see that is how the lime is. Now it could be in a solid form, like this ones here are powdery. So you could see it like in a rock. So this is what the calcium carbonate looks like. So that is about our specimen H. So we'll move to the next specimen. Specimen I. And our specimen I is the onion bulb. The onion bulb is our specimen I. So what do we have for our specimen I? Our specimen I, like we said, is the onion bulb. So it is a vegetable crop. It is a vegetable crop that is rich in many vitamins. It grows on the ground. Okay, let me put that here. Onion is a vegetable crop that grows on the ground. It is a vegetable crop that grows on the ground, and it is rich in many vitamins. It is very rich in many vitamins. We also have some minerals. It is rich in some vitamins, minerals, as well as antioxidants. And antioxidants that help to eliminate free radicals, which are helpful in eliminating free radicals. That is the function of the antioxidant. So it eliminates free radicals, and you find them to have very low calories. This particular onion that we're talking about, they have low calories. Now basically we have two types of onion. The types now. Types of onion. We have two types. Basically we have the first one, we have the white, and the second one happens to be the purple to brown. We see them having such color, purple to brown. So it could be white as well as it being purple to brown. So like I said earlier on, it is a bulb and it is a vegetable. Usually it is dried and used, it is eaten, and then when dried it is powdered as spice. When we look at this particular crop, looking at its classification scientifically, let me quickly put its classification here. So it belongs to the kingdom Plantae, and then the phylum to which it belongs, we have it called the Trachyphyta. The class now is the Liliopsida. And then the order, we have the order to be the Aspergillus. And then we have the family to be the Alliaceae. The genus, we have it to be the Allium, while the species, the species is Cepa. The species is Cepa, and that is why scientifically it is called the Allium Cepa. That is what it is called scientifically. That is the botanical name of this particular specimen, which is onion, Allium Cepa. So moving further now, we have this. We already said that it is a bulb and it is a vegetable. It is eaten to get all of these nutrients, and when it is dried, when onion is dried and powdered, it is consumed as spice. It is eaten as spice. And then the type of placentation, the placentation in this particular crop is axial. We have the placentation to be axial. Placentation in this particular crop is axial. That is what we have the placentation to be. So that is about the onion that we need to know. So this is a picture of the onion. You can see it here. That is what the onion looks like. So you can see this one that it has purple coating. You can see that it has purple to brown coating. We also have the ones that are white. Now this is a cut diagram of that particular specimen, specimen G. This is a cut diagram of our specimen, which is specimen I. A cut diagram of our specimen I, part of an onion bulb. You can see when it is cut longitudinally from top to bottom, you can see this part here, which happens to be the modified compact stem, and underneath here we have the adventitious root. We have all of this part here that is eaten, this particular part here inside the onion. They are called the bulb scale. That is the fleshy modified leaves. We call it fleshy modified leaves because when this particular outer coating, which is called the tunic, when it scales off, the next layer of the bulb scale becomes the tunic, and that is why we call it the fleshy modified leaves. And then at the top here we have the foliar stem. So that is about the onion bulb. You can see it, the stages of growth of this particular crop here. You can see how it looks here. This, from the seed it moves to the germination. It germinates, the seeds germinate, and then it sprouts, become a seedling, and then to a plant, and then the plant grows to become substances with flowers. You can see the flower at the tip here, and then it continues to grow like that until you have a mature or a ripe onion. Moving further now, we have our next specimen to be specimen J. We said tuber. That is what we will be working on right now. So what are those things that we want to discuss on specimen J? Quickly, we'll be talking about that. Now let us start with the botanical classification. Let me give us the botanical classification of yam tuber. So the kingdom, it is a Plantae. It belongs to the kingdom Plantae. The phylum, it is a Tracheophyta. We have the class to be Angiosperma. And then we have the order to be the Dioscoriales. And then we have the family to be the Dioscoraceae. Then we have the genus to be Dioscorea. Now for the species, we have so many species, so I'll just make mention of a few of them. We have Alata, we have Rotundata, we have Esculenta, we have, let me list some others here. We have the Cayenensis, we have the Polystachya, These are few of the species of the Dioscorea family. These are few of the species in this particular genome. So let's just pick any of them but let's assume we want to use any of them for our specimen. So this is how the botanical name will look. First we pick the genus, so we'll be having the Dioscorea, and let's assume we want to use rotundata, so it is going to be Dioscorea rotundata. That is how it will be written, and then you actually put your underline underneath it like this. So that is how the scientific name of this specimen, that is how they are being written. Now, what is yam? Yam is a perennial herbaceous plant. Yam is a perennial herbaceous. Yes, it is herbaceous as well because it has herbs. It is a perennial plant because naturally it takes more than one planting season for this particular crop to grow, though people actually cultivate them as annual crops. So they are perennial herbaceous plants. Now they are vines. Let me say this here also. They are vines because they also creep. Vines cultivated for their starchy tubers. Cultivated for their starchy tubers. Yes, this particular plant stores its food in form of its tuber. It stores its starch in the tubers and it is buried under the soil. Yams are cultivated in temperate and tropical regions. They are cultivated in temperate and tropical regions of this particular crop we're talking about. Temperate and tropical regions, those are the environments that you can have this particular substance grown. Now the skin is usually rough and difficult to peel, but it softens when it is being cooked. The skin is usually rough and difficult to peel. Rough and difficult to peel, but it becomes soft. It softens when boiled or cooked. So that is one major thing about this particular substance. The skin now, the color of this the skin of the yam varies, and that is one of the ways through which by which you can actually differentiate between the types of the yam. Remember we said that we have so many species. So one way through which you can actually distinguish between the species is by the color of the skin. So the skin varies in colors. The skin varies in color, ranging from dark brown okay, let me put it this way, through purple to light pink. Yes, we have so many shades of the yams and they have different colors. They are eaten for their high carbohydrates. That is basically why this particular crop is being eaten. We eat them basically because of their starch content. So they have high amounts of carbohydrates in them. So they are energy giving food. So that is basically what the yam tuber is. So perhaps you are asked to talk about the types of energy that you can get from them. It is an energy giving food. The type of nutrients rather, it is an energy giving food. It belongs to the carbohydrate family. So that is about that. So you can actually carry out some types of tests on it. Tests like test for starch. So that's one of the tests that you can actually carry out on this particular substance. So if you want to see some pictures, these are pictures that can actually help us understand what you are talking about. You can see the coat of this particular yam. Now you can see that it is rough. You can see it, and this one has brown color. So we can see how it looks here. So this is a particular species of the yam. You can see this is another one. If you look at it closely, you notice that the brown of this one is different from the brown of this one. This one is having slight purple coloration. So that is what we are talking about. You can see it. That is what the yam looks like. Now this is actually how the stem looks like. You can see it, and that is the reason why we call it a vine. Now it is a creeper, so when it grows it will be needing you to actually support the vine or the stem with a cane or a pole. You can see that it is being supported here with a pole. You can see the pole. This is the pole at the top here. This is the base of the pole. So you support the vine with a pole so that the vines will be able to sprout properly, and then there is going to be enough storage food material in the tubers. Now to cultivate the yam, to actually grow the yam, what you need is a yam set. You need a particular portion, a particular cut portion of the head of a mature yam. Just about 10 centimeters of a mature yam is what you cut the head, and then you insert that head into the ground, making sure that the head of the yam faces up on your ridge or in the ridge, and then you have the sprouting of the flower or the herbs of the plants, which actually looks like what we are seeing on the screen right now. So that is about the yam, and that is what we say or what we are discussing about the yam. Now we move over to specimen K, and our specimen K is cassava tuber. Cassava tuber is our specimen K. So like we did for the specimen J, which was yam tuber, let us look at the classification for our cassava tuber as well. So the kingdom, it is a Plantae, and then the phylum, it is also a Trachyphyta. We have a class to be Angiosperma as well. We have the order now to be the Malpighiales. The Malpighiales, we have the family to be the Euphobiaceae. We have it to be the Euphobiaceae. Then we have the genus to be the Manihot. Manihot is the genus, while we have the species to be Esculenta. So this is the species, the classification or the system of classification or taxonomy of the cassava tuber. Cassava is a woody shrub cultivated in so many environments. Cassava is a woody shrub cultivated as tuber in tropical regions, and it is actually cultivated as annual crops. Let me put that here. Cassava is a woody shrub cultivated as tuber. A woody shrub cultivated as tuber in tropical areas or regions. In tropical regions, and it is cultivated as annual crops. Now, the major reason for cultivating this particular species is for its edible starch roots. The edible starch root tuber is the reason why it is being cultivated. It is cultivated primarily because of its edible root tuber. Yes, it is cultivated because of its edible root tuber. Why? Because it is actually a major source of carbohydrates. Edible root tuber mainly for its high carbohydrate deposits. Majorly for its high carbohydrate deposit, so it has high amount of carbohydrates in it. Now, cassava is commonly consumed in boiled form. Majorly consumed majorly consumed in boiled form, but substantially the quantities are processed to extract cassava starch, but can also be processed to extract cassava starch. Cassava starch is what we popularly know as the tapioca. Yes, that is what we call it. We call it the tapioca. So it is after it has been extracted, after the starch has been extracted, that is used in the preparation of what we refer to as tapioca. And this is a major food, which is a major food. It is a major food. We also use it to feed animals. It is also used to feed animals, as well as it being used as raw material in industrial processes So these and more are the uses of this particular substance. Now, this crop can grow, like I said, it is cultivated in tropical environments, in tropical regions. Now you can have this particular crop grown in almost every environment, even in the very dry environment that do not have water. Why? Because it is cultivated more or less as a xerophyte. You have such a crop cultivated even in drought environment, so it is actually drought resistant. That is what I'm trying to say, that the crop is drought resistant. It is drought resistant. This particular crop is classified as either sweet or bean bitter. It is classified as either being sweet or bitter. Now, when we look at the classification, what differentiates these two classes? The bitter cassava has higher volume of cyanide compared to the sweet, and when not properly processed, it can cause the cyanide poison. Bitter cassava has higher volume or amount of cyanide. Cyanide is a toxic compound. Compared to the sweet. Properly processed can cause cyanide poisoning. So basically that is the reason why people oftentimes go for the sweet cassava as opposed to the bitter cassava. So basically that is what we have for the cassava. So you understand now that it is also a starchy food. It is a woody shrub and it is cultivated as such. Now it is cultivated as annual crop. So those are the things you need to know about it. Now this is a picture that will help us to understand what the cassava looks like. You can see how it is. This is the tuber of the cassava, and we can see the leaf at the back here. That's how the leaf looks. So let me show us other pictures. This is what the tuber also looks like. You can see it here.
And
So
when it
this
is
is how
buried
the
a bit
tuber, when it
into
is
the
freshly
soil,
harvested,
having
this is
some
how it
benches
looks,
of
and
the
this is the
stem
stem
facing out of the soil,
this is here
that
what we
is how
have
the
here is the
cultivation
stem
of this
of the
particular crop
cassava
is done.
having the
Because
leaves on
from the
them.
hive
So that
you
is
start
how
having the
the cassava
sprouting of the
plant
cassava
looks.
stem itself.
So we move quickly now to the next specimen, which specimen L, which happens to be the ginger. So what is the ginger? If you are looking into that, now talking about the ginger now, the ginger, okay, let us quickly look at its classification first. The kingdom, it is a plantae, it is a plant, so it belongs to the kingdom plantae. The phylum now, it is a tracheophyta. We have a class. The class, it belongs to the Liliopsida. We call it the Liliopsida. And the order, it is the Zingiberales. The Zingiberales. We have the family to be the Zingiberaceae. Zingiberaceae. We have the genus to be the Zingiber, and the species is the Officinale. So that is what the classification of this particular crop is. So its scientific name or botanical name becomes the Zingiber officinale. That is what the scientific name will look like, Zingiber officinale. So having said that, now let us go further into talking about it. Now, it is a flowering plant whose rhizome, ginger is a flowering plant, whose rhizome or the ginger itself is widely used or cultivated as a spice. Is widely used or cultivated as a spice and as medicine also, for its medicinal purposes. It is an herbaceous perennial crop. It is an herbaceous perennial. It is an herbaceous perennial crop which produces annual pseudostems. Which produces annual pseudostems. Pseudostems here mean that it has false roots. It produces false stems. That's the meaning of the pseudostem there. It produces false stems and it is made of rolled bases of leaves. Made of rolled basis of leaves. Basically, this is the description that we have for the ginger. Now, we have said all of this. Let us quickly look at what this ginger actually does. Now, we have said that it has medicinal functions, so let us look in that direction a bit. For the healing purposes, when it is being consumed, it increases the serotonin and the dopamine levels in the body. Ginger increases the serotonin and dopamine levels in the body, and as such it is used for so many things. It reduces inflammation, hence it reduces inflammation. So these are some of the medicinal functions. It reduces inflammations. It is good for anxiety. Good for anxiety. It helps to alleviate anxiety, depression, dementia, even PTSD. It also helps to treat nausea and motion sickness. Helps to treat nausea and motion sickness. You can also see it preventing swine flu. It eases stomach pains or stomach upsets. These and some others are the functions of this particular crop. So we understand what the ginger is now. It is a rhizome. Now, because it is a rhizome, the type of reproduction that we have in this particular crop is asexual, and it is the vegetative propagation. Reproduction is asexual. And what type of asexual? It is the vegetative propagation. Now, we understand that we have two types of vegetative propagation. We have the natural and the artificial. So it is vegetative propagation, and actually it is budding. I'll show us what I mean by budding now. So budding is the actual type of reproduction that we have in this particular species. Looking at it, this is what we'll be having. This is what the ginger looks like. This is the ginger. We see it here. So we can see this is the plant of the ginger. So I said earlier on that it is herbaceous, so you can see that it has leaves, and it is a rhizome having its tubers or its stored starch, its stored food buried under the ground. It is buried in the soil. So this part is buried in the soil, while we have this part here. All of this part here, which is green in color, is seen above the soil, while this part here is buried in the soil. So that is what the ginger looks like. This is also the ginger. Now let me use this to explain what I said earlier on. I said it has pseudostems. So looking at this part here now, you will discover that this stem here is not actually a stem or a woody stem, so to say, because all of these things here, they are leaves. If you look at this picture that I showed us earlier on, you discover that all of these stems here now, that is what forms the leaves. So when you peel off the leaves, you are actually thinning out the stem of this particular crop. That is what the pseudostem there means. So it is talking about false stems. Now I said also that it has it undergoes vegetative propagation, which is actually budding. Now looking at this part here, we call this part is a bud. This is another bud here. Now cutting this bud at this point here, where it joins this whole organism here, cutting the bud here is what we refer to as budding. So we actually cut the bud, and that is how this bud here starts to grow on its own to become a full grown organism again. So that is basically what we refer to as budding. That is the type of reproduction that we have in this organism. Now suffice to say that there is a similar crop, a similar plant that looks so much like this particular plant that we have made mention of, and that plant is called the turmeric. It is also a rhizome like the ginger. It is also a rhizome like the ginger. We can see this is what turmeric looks like. So if you look at the turmeric like we made mention of just now, you discover that it has a reddish brown back, as opposing the ginger that has this type of colored back. You can see the color of the back of the ginger. You can see how it looks now. This one has a light brown color, as opposing the turmeric that has reddish brown color, and inside it is looking more or less like orange. It looks orange in the inner part here. It looks orange. The cut part here looks orange, unlike this, which is for that of ginger, which is just light brown. So those are some differences between the turmeric and the ginger, so we should not take them for or mismatch them for one another. So that is about what we have for specimen L. Let's move to the next specimen, M. Specimen M, and our specimen M is fresh meat. Fresh meat, that is our specimen M. So this particular specimen, meat is valued as a complete protein food. Meat is valued as a complete protein food. Yes, it is very, very important that you know that. Now, it contains all the amino acids. The reason why we say it is a complete protein food is because it contains almost all the amino acids that are necessary for the body function. This is because it contains all the necessary amino acids that are required for the body's normal functioning. For the body's normal function. That is one of the reasons why we see meat as a complete protein food. Now, meat is oftentimes gotten from animals, like I made mention of them earlier on. We'll still go to talk about that very soon. So meat is animal tissue, oftentimes the muscle, that is eaten as food. That is another thing. Meat is animal tissue, is often gotten from animals. So it is the animal tissue. Basically, the muscles. Basically, the muscle, and it is eaten as food. So people actually feed on this particular substance. Humans have hunted, yes, humans have actually hunted different animals for particularly their meat. They have hunted so many, they have used them for hunting purposes, specifically, primarily for the possession of the meat, because humans actually feed on them. And it is not only humans, even other wild animals feed on smaller animals for their meat. So humans and other wild animals have actually hunted some animals. Primarily for their meat. So it has happened several times. Also, humans have actually gone into the system of farming these animals. Have also gone into the system of rearing some animals like the cattle, the pigs, the sheep, deer, etc. for purposefully for their meat. Purposefully for their meat. So these are some of the functions, these are some of the ways through which we get this fresh meat. So we understand now that the meat is heavily proteinous, and that is why it is very important that animals feed on them, or humans. Let me use humans. Why humans need to feed on them. Now we have so many types of meat from different types of animals. So I will just make mention of a few of them here. From the cattle now, we have the beef. We also have veal from cattle. If it is from the pig, we have the pork. We have the bacon. We also have the ham. These are meat from the pork. If it were to be the sheep, we have the meat called the mutton. Even from the deer, we have the venison. So these are some of the types of meat that we get from different animal sources. Now, we have said it that the meat is actually proteinous, and it could be processed in so many ways. It could be fried. Processing now. It could be boiled or steamed. It could be fried. It could be roasted. There are so many ways. You could just salt it. There are so many ways of actually processing and preserving this particular type of meat. So that is about the specimen M, which is fresh meat. So these are pictures that will show us what we have for that particular specimen. This is what fresh meat looks like. We can see this is how the fresh meat looks. So that is about specimen M. So we'll move quickly to our next specimen, which is specimen N. Our specimen N, we have our specimen N to be the tapeworm. Tapeworm is our specimen N. So what are we looking at talking about the tapeworm? First and foremost, let's look at its classification. So it belongs to the kingdom Animalia. The phylum, it is Platyhelminthes. It is the Platyhelminthes. And then we have the class to be the Cestodae. We have it to be the Cestodae. the order now, we have the order to be the Cyclophylladia. And then the family is the Ctenidae. That's the family. And then we have the genus to be the Taenia. And then the species is the Solium. So when it is being written, its scientific name is actually, we call it the Taenia Solium. That is the scientific name for this particular specimen, the tapeworm, Taenia Solium. Now, Taenia Solium is an endoparasite. It's an endoparasite because it is found in the gut of its host. It is found in the gut of its host. So let me start with that. Tapeworm is an endoparasite. It is an endoparasite found in the gut of its host. That is where it is usually found, and usually the host happens to be man. Their body consists of many similar units known as the proglottis. Their body consists of many similar units. Their body consists of many similar units called the proglottis. Now, it is very important, and that is why I am highlighting all of this. It is called the proglottis. Now, tapeworms are flat. They usually look like tapes, like the tapes that is used in measurements. So they are usually flat segmented worms. Tapeworms are characterized by flat bodies. So they are flat segmented. Flat segmented worms. Now, the adult worms, these adult tapeworms, they can be found in the intestine, usually causing no symptoms. But some people experience abdominal discomfort from them. Remember that we said that they are parasites, so they actually harm their host. So they can cause abdominal discomfort. Yes, they can actually result to abdominal discomfort. It can also cause diarrhea. And other symptoms like weight loss. Now, the part of the tapeworm, it has its part, like I made mention of it earlier on. The parts there, parts of the tapeworm. Number one, it has the head. And the head is the part that attaches to the intestine. The head which attaches to the intestine. The head which attaches to the intestine. It also has the neck. The neck which can regenerate. The neck has the ability to regenerate, and that is why this particular substance doesn't die easily. The neck can actually regenerate. And lastly, it has the rest of the worm, which consists of many segments called the proglottis, like I made mention of it earlier on, and they contain eggs. The rest of the body called the proglottis. Which contains eggs. So those are parts of the body of that particular animal. So that is about the specimen N. So let us see some pictures to help us understand it. So this is an example of a tapeworm found in the gut of an animal. You can see the head here. This is the head here, and it has suckers. I'll show us a picture that will show us the head properly very soon. So you can see that it looks like tape. You can see it, and it is segmented. You can see this is one segment. You can see a segment. You can see this place here this is the head, and this is the neck here. You can see the neck, and the neck actually has the ability to regenerate, and then it has all of these parts here, which is the proglottis that we made mention of, which is the segmented body. So this is another picture that can help us understand it. You can see it now. You can see how it looks. It has its segmented body all across. So this is another picture of it. You can see the scolex and then the neck. You can see it now. And so this is the mature proglottis. You can see how it looks now. You can see it. So it is tape-like. That is why it is called the tapeworm. Now let's see a picture of the head. You can see it here now. You can see the hook. So it is with these hooks now that it attaches itself to the body of its host. It is with the hook here now that it attaches itself to the body of its host. So that is how this particular substance is actually operated. So this is the neck here, which can actually regenerate, and here we have the immature, the proglottis, and then the proglottis continue like that. So that is how it looks. So all of these parts here, they are called suckers. They are also points of attachment on this particular organism, on the host. So that is about that for this particular specimen. So let us move to the next specimen. Specimen O. And our specimen O is a roundworm. The roundworm. Now looking at the roundworm now, we talk about its own classification as well. So starting with its classification, we say that it belongs to the kingdom Animalia. Animalia, and then the phylum, it is Nematoda. It is a nematode, so it is Nematoda. The class now, it is Chromadophore. We call it the Chromadore. And then we have the order to be the Ascaridida. Ascaridida. That is the order. We have the family. The family is the Ascarididae. That is its own family, Ascarididae. And then we have the genus to be Ascaris. And then the species. The species of this particular organism is the Lubricoides. That is the species of this particular organism, the Lubricoides. So, talking about its scientific name now, the scientific name is going to be seen as the Ascaris lumbricoides. That is what its scientific name will be seen as. The Ascaris lumbricoides. So don't forget to underline, and don't join the underline. Under no condition must you join the underline. So that is about the classification. So what do we have to say about this organism? Now, the roundworm is also an endoparasite. Roundworms are also endoparasites. So let me start from there. roundworms are endoparasites, yes, and they are nematodes. So you can already see that in the classification that they are nematodes. Most of them are free living. Most roundworms are free living. Most of them are free living, and then they feed on microbes, but there are many that are parasitic. The free living ones feed on microorganisms, hence they feed on microorganisms. But we have some parasitic ones. Many others are parasitic, and these ones are the ones that actually cause harm to other organisms. Nematodes have tubular digestive system. Or let me just see the roundworms. They have tubular digestive system. They have tubular digestive system with openings at both ends. With openings at both ends. They infect humans via fecal oral routes. They infect humans via fecal oral routes. Now, it is through exposure to contaminated feces that humans are being exposed to this particular infection. So when humans are exposed to contaminated feces with eggs of these roundworms, that is when humans get infected of this particular substance. The egg released by adult females are shed in feces. Eggs released by adult females are shed in feces, and that is how humans get exposed to it. Infections occur when one consumes contaminated food or water. Infection occurs when one consumes contaminated food or water containing the eggs. Containing the eggs of the mature female roundworm. And the eggs, they are found in they are also found in the body. Now these organisms, they are also called the small intestine worms. Yes, that is another name for them. Also called the small intestine worms. Small intestine worms. That is another name that people call them by, small intestine worms. So let us see a picture that will help us understand what we are talking about. So this is an example of the picture that we are talking about. This is an example of this the roundworm. You can see how it looks. It is cylindrical in shape, unlike the tapeworm that is segmented. You can see it. So that is what the roundworm look like. So this is the male, while this one here is the female. So you can see how it looks. This is how the picture looks. You can see this is how a typical roundworm looks. So that is what the roundworm looks like. You can see the label diagram of the roundworm. So this part here is the anus. You can see this part here, which happens to be the anus, and then we have the ovary around here where the eggs are being produced. We have the uterus here, and then the genital opening around this place here. It also has the intestine and the excretory opening as well, and then the mouth and the pharynx are found here towards the head. So that is how the ascaris look like. So that is about the specimen that we're talking about, which is our specimen O. So let us move straight to our last specimen, specimen P. And our specimen P is the tick. Specimen P is the tick. The tick is another parasite. So let's start with classification first. So it is an animal, so it belongs to the kingdom Animalia. The phylum, it is Arthropoda. Arthropoda, and then we have the class to be the Arachnida. We have it to be Arachnida. We have the order now to be Exodida. We have the family to be the Exodidae. And then we have the genus. We have the genus to Exodes, and the species happens to be the Scapularis. The Scapularis. So the scientific name is going to be the Exodes scapularis. The Exodes scapularis. That is the scientific name of this particular specimen, which is the tick. Now, the tick is, unlike the others that we have made mention of, the tick is an ectoparasite. It is an ectoparasite because it is found outside the body of the host. Ticks are ectoparasites. They are ectoparasites because they are found outside the body of their host. They are found outside the body of their host, so it is called, or they are called, ectoparasites. Now, like I just made mention of it, they are also parasites, so they harm their host. Now, these organisms, they have 8 legs. They have 4 pairs of working legs. They have 4 pairs of working legs. So that is 8 in total. That is 8 in total. So like I said that they are ectoparasites, they have 2 segmented bodies. They have 2 segmented bodies. First one, they have the head, and then they have the abdomen. They have the head and the abdomen. Now, they are found on many animals with fours. They are found on many animals. On many animals with fours. Animals that have fours, e.g., we have the dog, particularly dog, cattle. We have other animals like the horse, and so many of them. So all of these animals that have fours, that have hairs, we find ticks on them. Now, they attach themselves firmly to the body of their host. They attach themselves firmly to the body of their host, thereby sucking the blood from the host and causing causing their host major harm. So the kind of relationship that is between this parasite and their host, the relationship is called parasitism. That is the kind of relationship that we have. Relationship between the parasite and the host is called parasitism. So that is about the tick. So let us see some pictures to help us understand what we have talked about. So this is an example of a tick. You can see the head and then the abdomen. That is the two segmented body that this particular organism has, and it has 8 legs when you look at it. So that is how it operates. So we can see it. So this is how it looks here. You can see the body. This is the body, this is the abdomen rather, and then the head is here. So we can see the legs. It has 4 pairs of working legs. The legs are jointed. They are jointed legs. You can see them here. All of the jointed parts that make up the legs. So that is the ischodes scapularis. So you can see how it looks here as well. So basically this is a labeled diagram of that particular tick that we have just talked about now. You can see it. This is the labeled diagram of it. So it has 4, you can see it here. These are the first legs, then the second leg and this one, then we have the third and the fourth. So that is the pairs of legs that we have for this particular organism. So this brings us to the end of this particular tutorial session. I will plead with you to try as much as possible to go through all that we have said. Try to understand them very well. It is going to be very beneficial to you. So try to go through them, understand everything that we have discussed about each of the specimens. Look at the pictures very well and study them. Perhaps you might be coming across any diagram to be drawn. For those of us that are yet to subscribe to our channel, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We really need you doing that. You are doing this so you'll be able to get easy notification when we upload new content on our channel. And for those that are subscribed and are still coming with us, we really appreciate you. We really appreciate you staying glued to us. Please try as much as possible to like our content, share them with your friends, let them also benefit from what you're getting. We want to assure you that you're not going to get any loss of your penny from watching our videos. Thank you very much for coming along with us. We wish you success in your exam. Bye for now.